2025 is going to be a year which tests a lot of people in a lot of ways. And this is a start. I know everything appears random, but I don't think anything is random. I think, whether it's Mother Earth herself or there are other forces at work underneath the surface of this kind of thing, because, it's amazing. That's one of the things I've learned over the years is that conspiracy conspiracy stories can be conspiracy facts as well. But it's all there to serve a purpose, right? Because it gets us to where we need to go to. You got to, confront the dark to get to the light sometimes, You need that
Well, and it's
contrast.
yeah, and all the astrologers who I've been following have been talking about major earth changes. I know that I was watching Pam 2 days ago and she was talking about Neptune, and we're expecting a lot of flooding. And I think for me, part of what's been powerful about this, and John, if we have the time, what I'd like to do maybe at the end is to take people through a little exercise to help them cultivate like a heart consciousness that can send out this love we're going to be talking about.
Oh yeah.
And we can make it separate so you can include it or not or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, it's good to kind of include it, but also to separate it out. Because
Yeah.
if it's a repeat exercise, you can kind of create your own little section video for
Such
it,
to go to it. Yeah, exactly.
which is
Um,
there as a
yeah.
practice. Because that's the thing, it's about creating a practice, isn't it?
It's about creating a practice. And what I've been watching, very much tracking this in terms of consciousness, is here we have in the States people of a certain consciousness using the fires as a way to separate, to demonize, to politicize. They're really choosing the dark path of separation and judgment.
Mm,
And then you have other people who are choosing the path of, I don't care what ethnicity or religion or politics, or even if these people are citizens, we respond with care.
yeah,
And I was just in a book group this morning and we were sending out blessing to all the people, to the animals, because God knows the animals,
right.
to all the first responders, to the families of the first responders who are hoping that their loved one is not going to be killed. Um, and so, really, this is one of those choice points. Do we
Mm.
choose division and hatefulness and separation, the old consciousness that has brought us to this place? Or do we allow our hearts to be broken open even further?
Mm.
Because I'm even sending prayers for the people who are choosing division, because that is showing us their wound, you
This
know?
is this is a really good point. This is a really good point. In fact, I'm working right now on a Twiglet zone, which is, our fantastical stories accompanied by a savory snack, right? So we just put it out there. It's my truth. I don't
Mhm.
ask it for it to be other people's truth. But that very point that you mentioned there, actually, I did a little recording section yesterday, and I was talking about everybody is here. Everybody has an equal value. It doesn't matter how high up in the supposed hierarchy they are, or how low down this in the hierarchy, or whether they're here for a dark purpose or whether they're here for the light.
Mhm.
Everybody, everybody is part of the same divine energy,
Mhm.
just here
Mhm.
with a different purpose. Now, the
Mhm.
whole point is that, we come from a place of unconditional love, and that's where we will ultimately return to, and everything really is love. But unless you understand contrast, how would you know, right? If you lived your life in unconditional love, unless you know something other than that, how can you feel the difference? And I
Yeah.
think this is kind of part of our journey is to experience all this roller coaster of emotions that the physical life offers us because you can choose your direction and
Yeah.
some will choose the light and
Yeah.
some will choose that division energy side of things. But to your point, it doesn't matter where people fall in that spectrum. Everybody is equally deserving of love.
That's it.
Everybody.
That's
right?
it. That's it.
And
That's it.
if you start to divide that up and say, actually, no, we don't like those people. We don't, and I understand why there are certain things I don't like what certain people do. I don't like that certain entities out there that are trying to drag humanity down. But it's still part of the grand plan, right?
Hmm.
It's still the
Hmm.
way that things are happening, and all you can do is add your energy because it's not about so much about what you do, it's who you are.
That's right. It's the quality of being that we cultivate that then simply expresses itself in certain ways of behavior. And I love that simple phrase, hurt people.
Mm,
And that when people do things that we think of as horrific, um, murder and all those kinds of things, I certainly have a willingness to say murder is wrong. I worked in rape crisis for years.
mm,
Rape is
yes.
wrong. And there's a way to hold everybody participating. How can I put this? I can really bring love into a circumstance and say, this needs to not happen again. You need to experience the consequences of your actions. But I had a girlfriend one time who she had an amazing job. She went into Walpole State Prison and she was a rape crisis counselor, and she helped to create a therapy group for men who were in the prison for sexual assault. Her heart was a lot bigger than mine was at that time. And she told me how many of them had been assaulted as kids
For
or
sure.
who had observed it. And when they had a place that was non-judgmental and that could open, she said she's sitting there with these like massive guys, tattooed,
Mm,
all weeping. And she said, I sat with the little boys in that circle who had been so injured that like an animal that's been injured, it just is lashing out. And I
yeah.
even see that when I look at our president, that our president to be, you can feel the incredible emptiness inside of him. And I just have such compassion for him. And I will do what I can to interrupt what he's doing that's harming people, but not from a place of hating him. Because like you said, he's one of the characters in this really important drama that we're all involved in, right?
He is absolutely that. And I think love and forgiveness doesn't condone actions, right? That's not what it's
Exactly.
about.
That's right.
It's about actually accepting the fact that nobody ever does anything wrong given their frame of reference for the world,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Nobody ever does anything wrong, whether that's murder, rape, or anything, because their frame of reference for the world, which could be as a result of horrific childhood injuries that they, tortures and
Yeah.
mental stresses that they went through themselves in their own lives. So that's why non-judgment is so important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do believe President Trump is here for a very specific purpose.
Yeah.
And I believe that purpose is all about chaos. I think it's all about creating division, absolutely. But it's here to wake people up, right?
That's it.
Now, if you asked
That's
him
it.
that question, are you here to create
Yeah.
division? And he's clearly that's not the way he's going to come across. He's going to
Hmm.
come across as the,
Hmm.
obviously he's got
Hmm.
the narcissistic tendencies, the
Hmm. Hmm.
represent. I think what he does is he represents the energy of the past. Yeah,
Yes.
masculine, egoic,
Yes.
narcissistic,
Yes.
control, top down. But
Yes.
at the same time, he's a disruptor.
Yeah.
He's a disruptor, which is important because we need a
Yes.
disruptor right now because
That's
it
it.
accelerates the changes on the planet.
That's it. I agree. Totally agree. And people have looked to this, big white daddy who's going to come in and fix everything for all of us. And that's the distortion of Pisces. Some
Right.
God's going to come in and fix everything.
Yeah.
And Jesus never said he was going to fix everything, but the people who followed him said it will fix everything. And look at the mess that they've created.